Imagine this. You're standing in the heart of a sprawling city, buildings stretching into the sky, streets weaving like a maze, and the hum of life all around you. You glance at the map on your phone, but it's overwhelming. Street names blur together and you're already lost. Now picture someone who could look at that same city for just a few seconds and memorize every detail, every road, every alley, every zip code, even the history of the buildings. Sounds impossible, right? But one man did exactly that, and his brain held secrets that scientists are still unraveling today. Welcome to Mysteries Within, where we dive into the true stories behind human mysteries, brain secrets, and the unexplained wonders of the mind. Today we're exploring the incredible life of Kim Peek, the real-life genius who inspired the movie Rain Man, and whose mind could map a city faster than you can forget where you parked your car. Buckle up. This is a journey into the unknown. Let's start with something we all know too well, forgetting the little things. You've probably misplaced your keys, blanked on a friend's birthday, or struggled to recall the name of that song stuck in your head. Our brains are amazing, but they're also frustratingly imperfect. Now imagine a brain that never forgets, a brain that could soak up information like a sponge and store it forever. That was Kim Peek. Born in Salt Lake City, Utah in 1951, Kim was different from the start. His head was unusually large, a condition called macrocephaly, and doctors warned his parents, Fran and Jean, that he'd never walk or talk. At 9 months old, they suggested institutionalizing him. By age 6, another doctor recommended a lobotomy, but Kim's parents saw something the doctors didn't, a spark of something extraordinary. By the time Kim was 16 months old, he was doing things no toddler should. His parents would read him a book, and he'd memorize it, every word, every page, after hearing it just once. He'd place the book upside down on the shelf to mark that it was now part of his mental library. Think about that for a second. At an age when most kids are learning to stack blocks, Kim was building a mental encyclopedia. By the time he was 3, he was reading dictionaries and memorizing entire volumes of his family's encyclopedia set. He didn't just read, he devoured. Kim could read 2 pages at once, his left eye scanning the left page and his right eye scanning the right, finishing a page in 8 to 10 seconds. A thick book? He'd polish it off in an hour, retaining 98% of what he read. Scientists estimate he memorized over 12,000 books in his lifetime, from Shakespeare's plays to the Bible to city directories. That's not just a brain, it's a superpower. But what made Kim's mind so extraordinary? Let's dive into the science. Kim's brain was unlike any other. An MRI scan revealed something shocking. He was missing his corpus callosum, the bundle of nerves that connects the brain's left and right hemispheres. Normally this structure lets the two halves of your brain talk to each other, sharing information like a high-speed internet connection. Without it, Kim's brain was like 2 separate computers running at full speed with no bridge between them. He was also missing secondary connectors, like the anterior commissure, and had damage to his cerebellum, the part of the brain that helps with coordination and motor skills. These abnormalities came at a cost. Kim didn't walk until he was 4, and even then it was with a sidelong gait. He couldn't button his shirt, brush his teeth without help, or handle everyday tasks like cooking. Abstraction, things like metaphors or sarcasm, confused him. Once, when told to lower his voice, he slouched in his chair, thinking it would physically lower his voice box. Yet, these same brain differences seemed to unlock something incredible. Scientists like Daryl Treffert, an expert on savant syndrome, believe Kim's missing corpus callosum may have allowed his brain to rewire itself in unique ways. Without the usual barriers, his neurons might have formed unusual connections, turning his mind into a vast, interconnected database. In a 2005 Scientific American article, Treffert and his colleague Daniel Christensen called Kim's memory the Mount Everest of memory. His friends nicknamed him Kimputer because he could pull facts from his mind as fast as a search engine. Want to know the zip code for any city in the US? Kim had it. The day of the week for any date in history? He'd tell you in a second. Once, when someone mentioned their birth date, March 31st, 1956, Kim instantly said, "That was a Saturday on Easter weekend." He was right, of course. Now, let's bring this to a moment we can all relate to. Have you ever driven through a new city, trying to remember the route to your hotel, or the name of that street you passed? It's tough, right? Kim didn't just remember streets. He was a human GPS. He memorized maps, atlases, and travel guides, and could give driving directions between any 2 cities in the world. If you gave him an address, he could tell you who lived next door, thanks to his habit of memorizing phone books. One story tells of Kim visiting a library and scanning city directories, absorbing entire maps in moments. He could recall the layout of a city, its roads, landmarks, even historical events tied to specific buildings, after a single glance. That's where the title of this video comes in. Kim could memorize a city in seconds, a feat that feels like something out of a sci-fi movie. Kim's abilities weren't limited to maps and books. He was a walking archive of music, history, sports, and more. He knew every note of thousands of musical compositions, and if he heard a piece once, even 40 years ago, he could recite it perfectly. At a Shakespeare play, he'd stand up mid-performance to correct actors who missed a line, much to the annoyance of the audience. He once recited the mathematical constant pi to 22,514 decimal places, a task that took over 5 hours. And here's the wild part. Kim wasn't just a human hard drive. Toward the end of his life, he started learning new skills like playing the piano. He wasn't a virtuoso, but the fact that he could play at all, using both hands no less, was a sign his brain was still growing, still adapting. So how did the world learn about Kim Peek? For much of his life, he lived quietly, spending hours at the Salt Lake City Library, reading everything he could get his hands on. He worked a modest job at the Columbus Center, earning $40 a week doing payroll for 86 employees, without a calculator of course. But in 1984, everything changed. Kim and his father attended a meeting of the Association of Retarded Citizens in Arlington, Texas, where they met screenwriter Barry Morrow. Morrow was stunned by Kim's abilities. Kim rattled off facts about history, literature, and even Morrow's own birthday, calculating the day of the week in a flash. Morrow knew he'd met someone extraordinary. That chance encounter inspired him to write Rain Man, the 1988 film starring Dustin Hoffman as Raymond Babbitt, a savant with abilities based on Kim's. Hoffman met Kim to prepare for the role, studying his mannerisms and speech. When the film won 4 Oscars, including Best Picture, Morrow gave his Oscar statuette to Kim, who carried it to public appearances, earning it the nickname the most loved Oscar statue, because so many people held it. Rain Man brought Kim's story to millions, but it also got one thing wrong. Raymond Babbitt was portrayed as autistic, but Kim wasn't. Early on, doctors thought Kim might have autism, but a 2008 study suggested he had FG syndrome, a rare genetic condition linked to developmental delays and physical traits like low muscle tone and an enlarged head. Unlike many with savant syndrome, Kim wasn't socially withdrawn. After Rain Man, he and his father traveled the world, speaking to over 2 million people about neurodiversity and equality. Kim loved meeting strangers, sharing his calendar calculations, or telling them what was on the front page of newspapers the day they were born. His warmth and humor touched everyone he met. But here's where the mystery deepens. Why did Kim's brain work this way? Scientists still don't have all the answers. Some, like Treffert, suggest that brain damage in savants might trigger compensatory development, where other neural areas step up to fill the gap. Others wonder if the absence of a corpus callosum allowed Kim's brain to tap into latent abilities we all might have, buried under the noise of our everyday thoughts. In a fascinating 2004 study at NASA's Ames Research Center, scientists used CT and MRI scans to create a 3D model of Kim's brain, comparing it to scans from 1988. They found significant structural abnormalities, but they couldn't pinpoint exactly how these led to his genius. It's like finding a treasure map without the X that marks the spot. Kim Peek passed away in 2009 from a heart attack, but his legacy lives on. The Utah Film Center's Peek Award honors his impact, celebrating artists who change how we see disability. His story raises questions that linger like a whisper in the dark. What else is hidden in the human brain? Could we all have untapped potential waiting to be unlocked? Think about your own mind for a moment. Those fleeting childhood memories, the songs you can't forget, the random facts you pull out at trivia night. Maybe they're hints of something bigger, something mysterious within you. That's all for today's dive into the brain secrets of Kim Peek, the mega savant who showed us just how extraordinary the human mind can be. If this story blew your mind, hit that subscribe button and join the Mysteries Within community for more true stories about human mysteries, unexplained powers, and the wonders of consciousness. What do you think? Could we all have hidden abilities like Kim's, or was he truly one of a kind? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and check out our next video for another journey into the unknown. Until then, keep exploring the mysteries within.